Hey everyone, Ian here at NAB 2017, and I have come over to the Blackmagic booth, and we are with Jason to talk about the new macro and mini panels.
Great. It's actually a micro and mini panel.
Macro and mini.
Oh, it's easy to discern. It's fine. Yeah, but thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us at NAB 2017. Yeah, we're going to be talking about the new mini and the micro panels that we released a couple months ago that are now available and in stock. So I guess the best way to start talking about the panels is to talk about the advanced control surface, the advanced panel that we also still have for $29,995. So it's where the bar stops with color control surface and great color grading. And what we did is we wanted to make smaller panels for a while, but we knew that we weren't going to make them until we could guarantee the same quality and the same amount of access to the software. So what we ended up with are the mini and the micro panels. If you'll take a look at the panels, and I also want to note that with the micro panel, I almost said macro, right? With the mini panels, essentially it cuts off at this line, and this line and below is the micro panel. In terms of the same identical controls, you have all of your primary tools here. So you have lift, gamma, gain. The important thing is the addition of these three knobs, Y lift, Y gamma, and Y gain. This takes advantage of our YRGB color space. One of the greatest differences in Resolve is that we can affect chrominance without luminance and luminance without chrominance. So we can touch color and brightness completely separate of each other. And Y lift, Y gamma, Y gain are great tools that are frequently used in Resolve by colorists, so having the knobs right there are a big advantage. Additionally, we even have a button to get to the offset. So if you click the offset button, we originally have lift, gamma, gain, and then you click offset, and we have offset right here, and what used to be lift and gamma turn into color, temperature, and tint, which is a really great addition. I'll hit the reset button and turn off offset. Essentially, also on the right side of the panel right here, we have some playback controls. So we have previous node, next node. If I make a couple serial nodes here, you can see that we can fit into the next node. We can go to the next frame, next clip, previous clip. On the advanced panel, there's a button called first frame, last frame. Now to save space, we don't have those buttons in here, but with new DaVinci Resolve 14, which is in public beta as of yesterday with the price drop from $995 to $299 for DaVinci Resolve Studio, we added a couple little upgrades to the mini panel as well, a couple software features that people really wanted to see. So now if you hold down the previous frame button, it gets you to the first frame, or next frame gets you to the last frame. So nice little adjustment. And also for all the folks out there that already have a mini or a micro panel, actually a mini panel, if you go to the primary tool, it memorizes your location, whether you prefer to see primary wheels or primary bars. So I can hop over to a power window tool right now, and if I go to wheels and I press primary, it's going to remember my preference, and it's going to keep that saved in there. So we got a lot of feature requests about that, and we were able to get that in there. The next thing I want to talk about generally is the layout of the micro versus the mini panel. Now the micro panel, which is $995, is bus powered via one USB-C cable, and generally that panel is going to be best suited for DITs, on-set people, anyone that needs to, throw the panel in a backpack and have access to quick primaries for creating LUTs, for dealing with dailies. The micro is perfect for that at $995. As soon as you want to sit down and you want to say, I want access to all of these tools in Resolve in a panel, you jump up to the mini panel, which is $29.95, which is what we have here. Now, the addition to the mini panel over the micro panel is this top area right here. This top area gets you two 5-inch screens with 8 soft buttons and 8 soft knobs. And if you remember the advanced panel, you'll see that the creative controls flow throughout the advanced panel over all of the knobs on the top of the panel. And it's not really ideal to think of the mini panel as just, less than. It's a rearrangement of real estate. So now, instead of having 3 panels with lots of knobs, each tool in Resolve has its own page and each button will get you into a different palette, and those palettes have their associated controls. So for instance, you're only going to have to press page a couple times in each palette to get to where you want to be. So for instance, I can adjust let's go to the next node and delete these real quick. So if I go in this node right here, I can easily adjust my lifts, gamma, and gain. And I'll adjust contrast and pivot. and then add a little bit of mid-tone detail and a little bit of color boost to add saturation to the least saturated areas of my image. After that, I can create another serial node, and if now I want to work on my curves, I can simply go over here and press the curves button. Now, I have my custom curves for if you're used to adjusting your custom curves with a mouse. We even have these 20% presets, so every 20% there's a preset, so I can move up on 80%, down on 20%, create my contrast curves that way, and adjust them with a lot of accuracy right there. Now additionally, if you're used to using hue versus hue, or hue versus sat, we have those in a button right here, so you can get to hue versus hue versus sat, hue versus loom, so on and so forth. So if I want to adjust the saturation of blue, I can just take that, and blue becomes less saturated. And notice the difference between blue and cyan right here. So I'm doing one thing to blue, I'm doing another thing to cyan. If I want to, I can go to hue versus hue right here, easily get to cyan, and change the color of only cyan without affecting the blue. And if you want to do that a different way, if you want to make another node, and if you want to use a qualifier, you can get down to the qualifier page right here. And we have, typically, if you're used to going down and going instead of HSL, maybe to the 3D qualifier, you don't have to do that anymore, because with pages back and forth, we can just go to the different qualifier of our choice. And then when we qualify something, like let's say for instance the cyan on this plane, we'll go to highlight mode. And as you can see, we have hue, we have the width right there, and then saturation, and then page forward to luminance, and then to tool sets over there. So pretty much every single page in Resolve now will get out of highlight mode there, has its own button right here, which gives you access to the 8 soft buttons and the 8 soft knobs. So when you think about it, each tool really does have the same amount of real estate. It's just condensed in a smaller package. Yeah. In addition, the mini panel gets you these extra 15 buttons right here, which gets you node control. So you can make a serial node or a parallel node if you want access. Well, let's make our node tree bigger so we can clean that up. Right click, clean up node graph. Handy little tool that was brought in a couple years ago. Yeah. So yeah.
Just taking kind of the keyboard out of the analogy.
We're taking the keyboard out of it, yeah. So with the advanced panel, you're probably using the keyboard about 5% of the time. With this, you're going to be using the keyboard about 15% of the time. So there's really a great amount of features here in the mini panel. And if you're a freelance colorist, or even if you have your own facility, if you ever want to take the panel anywhere, it's lightweight enough and it's portable enough to put in the box or into a flight case and bring it to another client's facility to do work there. As you'll feel, in terms of quality of the panel itself, we didn't want to make a smaller panel until we knew we could port the same quality over to a smaller panel. So the knobs still have 4,096 points per turn, like the advanced panel. And if you take a minute and go to the weighted trackballs and track rings right here, you'll see, if you want to go ahead and adjust yourself, the quality is right up there with the advanced panel.
Oh yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, they're weighted.
It's nice weight. The subtlety that you want.
Even the die-cast aluminum construction of the panel is very reminiscent of the cast iron construction of the advanced panel. So it's a really sturdy, professional panel that you'll be able to bring with you multiple places, that has a great feel, a great weight, and a great quality to it.
So fantastic new product. Thanks for spending time showing us. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon.